Hello, everyone. My name is 𝗦𝗲𝗀𝗻𝗀. I'm with SolarWinds on our SaaS team. Look forward to seeing everyone in a few weeks at Microsoft Ignite again this year. Before we get there, I'm actually coming to you from our corporate headquarters in Austin, Texas. Thought I'd spend about 10 to 15 minutes to talk to you about the SolarWinds platform, what we believe is a new approach to supporting today's market, supporting the very unique needs that you as IT professionals have, trying to support the newer technologies, the newer implementations that you're responsible for that's helping your companies progress. So I do want to talk a little bit about some of the challenges associated with that. Now, the good news is a lot of companies, probably many of the companies that you're in, are dealing with trying to move and accelerate your digital transformation. You're accelerating moving to modern applications, moving to the cloud. Now, I know none of this is new to you guys, okay? But the result of all of this shift to take advantage of these new technologies, which gives your companies better opportunities to maybe be more competitive, to be more nimble, to be more aggressive in delivering and serving and marketing the products and services that your companies do. It's requiring you all to support the operations of this modernization, the new applications, new databases. You're now dealing with deployments of not just one cloud, but in a lot of cases, it could be multiple Azure regions, multiple clouds that you're implementing applications that could be running across multiple clouds. You're also responsible now for this hybrid world. And I'm telling you, I'm guessing that most of you are dealing with some form of on-prem or self-hosted as well as cloud. How do you deal with all that? Now, again, great opportunity for the company, great opportunities for you, but the complexity has grown exponentially. Your budgets haven't changed. Not only have you always been resource constrained, but now you've got new technologies, new things to learn, new things to support, yet you're not necessarily getting new resources. I'm not sure things are any different for you than it is for us here. So it's a challenge. And what's really crazy is you got all the new technology, which is awesome, but it's a lot more complex. There's a lot more moving pieces. There's a lot more demand on IT to not only support the business, to be a big part of the success of the business, and yet your users and your customers have less tolerance for failure, less tolerance for poor performance. So you've got even more stringent SLAs. I call this a perfect storm. And again, I think you're all living that world. Now, just to give you an example, I've got this ugly chart here. Now, this does not mean, or this does not apply just to like large enterprises. Actually, this diagram I'm showing you could be a very small company that's leveraging new technologies across multiple clouds. Some of this could be inside the firewall in a self-hosted environment. You could be running microservices-based applications, which each element of an application, the microservices running on independent containers. So you can have containers running across multiple clouds. You could have your data warehouse sitting inside the firewall. The complexity has grown exponential. So to be able to manage this environment with information silos is risky. Manual root cause analysis, trying to figure out quickly and accurately what's going on, the opportunity to have actually worse service delivery than in the past, raising the risk and actually even increasing the cost versus reducing the cost is extremely high unless you have a way to really get a sense of what's going on. Getting visibility. This whole concept of observability is about getting holistic visibility. So let me drill down again a little bit into these challenges, which I'm sure you're all familiar with. Tool sprawl is an interesting one because traditionally it's been around tool consolidation. It's been a financial conversation. I want to reduce the amount of vendors, reduce the number of tools. Plus, I want to leverage a set of tools that make it easy for me to learn. And I'll use an example of Microsoft Office. It's a great example of where you've got Excel, you've got Word, you've got PowerPoint, you've got a variety of tools that have a common way of using the tool that makes it easy to learn any one of those tools, okay? So when you think of tool consolidation, for years, it's been a financial discussion. It's about ease of use discussion. It's been about a resource. Well, that still all applies. But when it comes to holistic observability, tool sprawl is beyond just the financial ramifications. If you truly want to understand the status of your IT environment, You need to understand all the elements that can impact that service. The infrastructure, the application, the database, in cases it could be the network, the end user experience. You need to start looking at things holistically. If you're really going to try to get to the end game, that's if there is a problem, the root cause. How do I find out what the issue is so I can resolve it? How can I do it not only quickly, but accurately? How do I go about troubleshooting that environment I just showed you where things are distributed all over the place with new technologies? How do I optimize that environment? How do I even know what's normal? How do I know if it's good or bad? You need to look at this stuff in a more holistic way. These are kind of the challenges that we at SolarWinds have been thinking about that we know is important to you. You've been dealing with too many alerts, alert fatigue, alert storms. You're ignoring them because there's so many of them, you don't know which ones to work on. And as I mentioned earlier, you've got all this pressure now to deliver on even more stringent SLAs. So let's talk about database. Okay, what I just talked about earlier with tool sprawl and alert fatigue, a lot of that stuff applies here. But man, let me tell you, database takes up a big chunk of why we have problems with key applications. We did a study that showed 70% of application problems are caused by the database. It could be very long-running queries. It could be poorly written database queries. It could be the database is not resourced properly. There's a lot of reasons that can be cause an issue. When you take that on top of the fact that 75% of databases are now being deployed or migrated to the cloud, you've already got a troublesome environment, and now you've got a new set of technologies and migration you have to deal with at the same time in the cloud. So you need to have visibility into what's going on with the database. And we'll talk about something like what I call application-centric database observability or monitoring and database-centric monitoring or observability. One of the big challenges, again, with databases, expertise. Many companies, and I'm sure a lot of your own companies, you're limited on how many DBAs you have, how many database experts. So now you're relying on other folks like system admins or operational folks or even SREs to be able to troubleshoot and understand what's going on with the database. So again, this is another thing we've understood at SolarWinds, like we need to have offerings that support that deep knowledge of a DBA, but also a tool that's easy to use and provides a lot of intelligence to help what they call the accidental DBA, or someone who's a novice but needs that element just like they need to understand the infrastructure, the application services, and the network. Now, knowing all of these issues, one thing that is paramount, and it always has been with SolarWinds, okay, is to understand where the customer is. And in this environment we keep calling the digital transformation, the transformation journey, the journey of the cloud, whatever you want to call it, it's imperative when we're thinking about our approach, how do you support a customer where they are? They could be in the data center, purely on-prem, self-hosted, and that's the way they're going to stay, and that's great. We've been doing that for years. Okay. You can have a customer say, okay, I'm going to dip my toe. There's certain applications, there's certain things I'm going to do in the cloud, but I'm still primarily in the data center. I could be aggressively moving to the cloud. And depending on the company, aggressively moving to the cloud could be years or it could be months. Either way, I'm taking my current legacy environment and I'm moving all of it. And whether I'm doing a lift and shift, I'm re-architecting, rebuilding, that's a whole different environment. And then, of course, we've got customers that are cloud-born. The Uber Eats, I guess, or a Spotify, examples of companies, their business lives and breathes with IT, lives and breathes on the internet, okay? How do we, SolarWinds, trying to solve for your problem to help you do your job? It's important we know where you are, but even more important, can we put together a strategy and approach that supports you as you're moving across any of these elements of your transformation strategy without you having to worry about, okay, I'm moving from one element to the next element. I've got to change out the products. I've got to change out the way I approach things. I have to go and look at different vendors, different tools. How do I support a company that might be going through a transformation over a period of years? How do I support a company that's going to have feet in both camps? You could have a huge Microsoft, let's say a Windows environment, leveraging .NET, sitting in a typical brick and mortar data center, multiple data centers. But I also have a huge element that I'm using now working with Azure and Office 365 and other applications, whether they're Microsoft or not, and I'm leveraging both technologies. how do you provide for all those different scenarios? And that's what got us thinking we need to do a new approach. And that's where the SolarWinds platform comes in. The SolarWinds platform, this is all about how we as a company want to serve you as customers. Now, for those of you who know us, we have a very long history and a strong portfolio supporting managing the performance, the availability, and the success of Microsoft implementations sitting inside the firewall. What a lot of people probably don't know is we've also had a very strong SaaS set of offerings. You might have heard of products like Pingdom, AppOptics, Papertrail. These are SaaS tools that we've had in the past. And of course, we've got award-winning network management, infrastructure management sitting inside the firewall. Well, what we've done, our new approach is one vendor, SolarWinds. The SolarWinds platform provides both self-hosted and SaaS offerings and an integration between those that gives you as an IT professional the flexibility you need depending on where you are in your transformation. Now, the platform supports observability. It supports service management. And let me tell you, the linkage between IT operations or DevOps and service management or IT service management completes the life cycle when it comes to IT monitoring and management. So the common platform supports observability, service management, security, and database. And we'll talk a little bit more about that. One thing is key is this single platform that provides multiple offerings. It's also now leveraging a machine learning engine that is delivering more intelligence, more insights, more automation, more out-of-the-box capabilities. So the novice to the deep professional can take advantage of it. That machine learning engine is being implemented across the entire SolarWinds platform, whether it be observability, service management, database, etc. Let me just peek you into two elements of the SolarWinds platform. A year ago this October, we launched something called SolarWinds Observability. It is our SaaS offering. It was designed as a cloud-native SaaS observability offering. A SaaS offering that can not only support your cloud-native, your Azure environment, whether you're Azure and you're doing serverless computing, you're leveraging, Azure VMs, whatever applications you're running, it can support you in that environment, application, database, infrastructure. But it's also a SaaS offering that takes years of award-winning network management and on-prem server and infrastructure management, and you can also do that from this SaaS offering. We've future-proofed it because we've built it on the current technology that will evolve. So this is not something that's going to solve for a point in time. It's got extensibility built into it. Matter of fact, it's got an open source framework, which is a critical element for not only scalability, but of extensibility. So this can be your foundational platform for monitoring and observability. What was not there with our SaaS products is they were individual tools. We've built this offering from the ground up to fully integrate, to correlate the infrastructure, the applications, whether it's your Azure cloud infrastructure and Azure services and functions, whether it is your application, your microservices, your Kubernetes containerized environment, even your end user experience, your website performance, your actual real user experience, and giving you the capability to correlate those things. Remember earlier I talked about what's important about observability is to understand the true state of an IT service that's driving your business. You need to understand all the things that bring it together. And that's what we've done with SolarWinds Observability. And then finally, it's SaaS. So there's a level of simplicity there, but it's not just about that it's a SaaS product. The way we've defined it, the way we've made it easy and a common way to bring data in, a common way to look at that information, kind of similar like Microsoft Office, we've provided a very simple to use, easy to implement, no services required. Now let's talk a little bit about database, okay? And again, we have offerings now. If you look all the way to the right, database observability, that is part of SolarWinds Observability, the slide I just showed beforehand. And it gives you the capability to do application-centric database, which means what elements of the database, is it a query, is it resource, that's impacting a specific application. But it also gives the DBA the capability for SQL Server, as an example, along with some other open source databases, the capability to look at all your database management systems, all your databases and how they're impacting the rest of your environment. We have two offerings that are on-prem part of the SolarWinds platform. The Database Performance Analyzer is an awesome tool if you're a novice. It makes it easier for you to do some of that application level database monitoring if you're not an expert. Then SQL Sentry, which is an awesome product for Microsoft SQL Server, and it can provide DBA level capabilities for managing performance, understanding, getting analysis of what's going on. And you can do that whether that Microsoft SQL Server is running inside the firewall or in the SaaS environment. So I just quickly wanted to show you a couple of things to look at. What I want to leave you with, and I really look forward to seeing you at Ignite, and I hope you get a chance to spend some time in our showcase. There's all sorts of capabilities and tools and case studies and demos that you can really get an understanding of what we're doing here with the SolarWinds platform. The thing I want to leave you with is the crux of the strategy that we've built here with the SolarWinds platform is to make sure we can meet you wherever you are in your journey and make it easier for you to be moving through that journey, regardless of how long it takes you. So the example here, we've got an on-prem observability offering, we have a SaaS-based observability offering, and they are unified and connected, giving you the ultimate flexibility to be with you wherever you are in your environment. So I really hope you have an opportunity to spend some time. I look forward to seeing you. We love going to Ignite each year, and we look forward to, whether it's virtually or in person, spending a little more time understanding not only that SolarWinds has been traditionally in that on-prem legacy space and really been award-winning in that area. We've taken our individual award-winning SaaS tools, brought them together in a complete set of offerings, all part of the SolarWinds platform. So this is some information. If you don't know much about SolarWinds, we are a fairly formidable company. A lot of you who do know us from on-prem. We really need, it's kind of like the best kept secret on our SaaS offerings. But now with the introduction of our SaaS observability and the enhancements we've made to our on-prem and the database capabilities, I really think it's worth your time taking a look. Well, look, thank you all for the time today. Feel free to reach out to our dedicated Microsoft team. There's a link here you can click on. If you want, go see us at the Microsoft Azure Marketplace. Just so you know, some of the things we've done in the last year, not only have we added SolarWinds Observability and some other offerings to the marketplace, but with SolarWinds Observability, which is very unique in the industry, we give you, the customer, not only the opportunity to manage your Azure environment, but when you subscribe to SolarWinds Observability, you can choose to run SolarWinds Observability in an Azure environment. Anyway, thank you for your time today. I really appreciate it. Look forward to seeing you at Ignite.